Hey, how you doing? I'm good. So, almost 9 o'clock, doing good at being regular after everybody's put to bed, of course, right? So, this week is Food Allergy Awareness Week. I didn't even know there was such a thing until a few weeks ago. So, anyway, that is what I'm here to talk about are the three changes I made to get healthier. And these, of course, are going to be changes in food consumption due to food allergies. This is crazy. So, the number one thing is understanding that there's more to food than what you see. Um, Even a simple apple can have additional chemicals or additives put into it because if a plant is sprayed with chemicals, it grows into the water um, of the apple, for example, because that's what I used, right? And so it goes into the juice. It's also on the skin of the apple as well, and so you need to be able to um, wash it off. And so that's why there is a list called the Dirty Dozen. You can certainly go look it up. But a lot of the foods that are in that are high concentration water. So, like lettuce, watermelon, apples, um, celery. Those are ones off the top of my head. Maybe I like those the best. And so for those, you're actually supposed to choose organic and natural. And so that can be a little bit like greenwashed a little bit of what is organic or natural. Of course, look for the label. And that is the difference, is really how the plant is grown. Again, like if you're looking at meat, you've got your free range, grass fed, those kinds of things, um, all these other labels to help with understanding that there's more to food. I even worked for a animal um, feed company, or at least part of one of their divisions was animal feed. And yeah, the stuff that goes into that was like scary. Um, and just because, for example, in chicken feed is arsenic, which why? Because that's naturally found in apple seeds. But the arsenic is used to help the feathers look prettier. So not necessary for roaster chickens, right? Because that's what I want to do is eat them. So that was the first thing. That's the first thing is to understand that there's more to food than just what you see. The second thing is intermittent fasting is the second change that I made to get healthier. And so intermittent fasting is not just starving yourself. It's not starving yourself at all, actually, because if your body kicks into those signals that say, hey, we're not getting enough calories, then you're not doing it right. Um, so it is not starving yourself. What it's doing is it's giving your body a chance to rest and heal. So it's not constantly thinking about processing food. And so your body was made to actually eat and then rest, eat and then rest, eat and then rest. And so, depending on um, what your goals are for intermittent fasting, is how you should intermittent fast. So, there's what's called clean fasting and dirty fasting. Dirty fasting allows things like a splash of creamer or uh, broth or certain calorie limits. It depends, like I said, what your goal is. A really awesome book is called The Obesity Code. It's very sciencey, especially the first half, and in that book is actually how I learned what the signs of starvation were because there was an experiment that was done in Minnesota to they starved people basically to see what the signs were and what happened with calorie reduction and things like that. So intermittent fasting, yes, you do get some caloric reduction, but really, like I said, it's a chance for your body to eat, provide nourishment, and then rest and heal. And so the basic phases are like your sugar goes up, your sugar goes down, your sugar normalizes. So those are the first three phases. And then your body goes into ketosis, which it is learning to use the fat, change that into um, your energy instead of eating off the sugar from the food that you just ate. And then you go into a fat burning. So you go at high levels of fat burning. So your body's really focused into changing the fat on your body into fuel for your body. And then you go into autophagy. So that is when your body is actually cleaning out the dead cells. This is your fountain of youth uh, phase, essentially. And so it takes all your dead cells, your cells that need to be cleaned out of the system, and uses that for energy and gets your body cleaned up and repaired. So have you ever heard feed a fever, starve a cold? Same idea. Your body will naturally stop eating when you're sick, it to focus on healing. And so that's what your body is already automatically doing if you're listening to your body, right? And so the first point was understanding that there's more to food. And so you have chemicals and additives. What is organic and natural? You've got to navigate that for yourself a little bit. Intermittent fasting is not starving yourself, but giving your body a chance to rest and heal. And like I said, the obesity code, even though it's really sciencey, by Dr. Jason Fung, that's an awesome book to read. The third step is the elimination diet. So this is actually the food allergy piece. It strips the diet of all known allergens and sensitivities. And then what you do is you bring it back, just like when you're testing new foods with babies, when you're introducing food to a baby, you do this to yourself. You test the foods similar to you in a 3-day pattern. So you bring back your allergens or what possibly could be allergens. And so you start with the least likely to be allergen food to the most likely. And so there's 6 foods that are heavy on the allergen list. You've got dairy, which is one of mine. Then you have gluten, which is another food allergy. Corn, soy, eggs, and I don't remember the 6th one. But another one after the 6 major ones would be nightshades. And so that's a new thing to me too. And that's tomatoes and peppers and your spices like that. And so anyway, like I said, you just bring back foods and you test them. What I have found in this most recent elimination diet that I did is that I'm actually allergic to eggs. I did not know this. And I'm almost betting that I think that my dairy or lactose intolerance, which is different than an allergy, just a heads up, intolerance to a food is different than an allergy to a food. But I'd be fine with cheese and I'd be fine with like butter and things like that. But ice cream and cheesecake and other things that actually have eggs in them along with the dairy. And so that's how I just was able to differentiate and separate, because with the elimination diet, I brought the eggs back in before the dairy, thinking I was not going to have a problem. I had a problem. Big problem. And so this is what I want to get at, is to know the symptoms of food allergies. So it can be as mild as an annoying, right? But it's hives, flush skin, or a rash, tingly or itchy sensation in the mouth. So like I do this like I pull, like I'm trying to scratch my throat with my tongue when I have that. Face, tongue, or lip swelling. I've had that. Vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal cramps, even coughing or wheezing, which is interesting. Dizziness, a lightheadedness, swelling of the throat and vocal cords, difficulty breathing, and loss of consciousness. So those are all of the symptoms of food allergies, and they can show up um, from a few minutes to a few hours afterwards. And um, so, of course, the life-threatening is anaphylactic shock, which is severe lowering of the blood pressure, restricted airways in the lungs, and suffocation by swelling of the throat and larynx. Um, if you get a food allergy and start having symptoms, stop eating the food. That may sound like a duh, but really it's just stop. Like, and that can be oh, my stomach doesn't feel good. Um, and to stop eating it. Evaluate the need for emergency treatment. So ABCs, airways, breathing, um, cardiac. I'm like, what's the C? Cardiac. So airway, breathing, cardiac. And seek medical attention. So if you need, I've had to use like Claritin, a liquid Claritin or a liquid Benadryl before on my throat for mild reaction to food allergies. And so it's also important to understand that a mild allergic reaction does not always mean the allergy is mild. And what I also have found interesting is what I learned in the elimination diet is that an allergic reaction could even be a stuffy sinuses. So if you are putting in foods that that you're allergic to or have even a mild reaction to, but you also have seasonal allergies, your food that you consume can actually make your seasonal allergies worse. And so that is just something to be aware of. So always read food labels, avoid foods that you're allergic to. That kind of seems like a duh. Um, but at my work, we can eat the leftovers from the weekend, and I did not realize that most of our desserts have eggs in them. And so I'm okay, like if it's like cookies where the eggs are baked in or it's bread or something like that. But something like cheesecake or um, like egg bake. I mean, obviously the eggs in the egg bake is a duh. Um, but even mayonnaise, I forgot that mayonnaise had eggs in it, and I had a ham sandwich with mayonnaise. And then I started feeling awful, simply awful. So the nausea came in. And then I went and looked at the label and I went, mayonnaise has eggs. Yeah. So they can be, you just have to be able to see the labels and pay attention. That's really about it. And so I'm going on retreat. So me and God time this next couple of days. And I had to call them and ask them to label the food with food allergens, especially eggs. Um, and hopefully they will. I don't expect them to change the food menu, obviously, but just to let me be aware that where the eggs are, especially, that is helpful. So, so 3 changes I made to become healthier. One, I understand that there's more to food than just actual food, right? Especially if you're not eating organic or natural. Um, Intermittent fasting has helped my body heal itself. I've actually become less bloated, and my hands do not look like little sausages anymore. I was just on vacation though, so my feet do, and I can feel my body processing um, like the six meals we had that had restaurant food in it. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Yeah, because I had leftovers today. Um, of those 4 days, out of those 4 days, there were 6 meals that had restaurant food included in it, either as an additive because I didn't make enough. Cheers. Or it was just the meal that we had. So that's just something to be aware of. Intermittent fasting. So understanding that food, there's more than just food, intermittent fasting. And the third thing was the elimination diet that helped me identify other foods that I react to, even if it's mildly, like white or yellow, not white onions. Yellow onions I have problems with, but not red onions or scallions or green onions. So that was an interesting find too. Like it's a different type of onion that I have a problem with. Um, so yeah, those are 3 steps that you can take. Understanding more to food than food, intermittent fasting, and elimination diet. So I will see you when I get back from retreat.